What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a game called Night is Coming, which has the distinction of having been on my wish list, I think, longer than anything else. I got a lot of things on my wish list, alright? It's a part of my job, but this one has been on there for a good long time. And this is a very dark and atmospheric colony survival game a la RimWorld. And I see it as like, what if you combined The Witcher with RimWorld? So what if RimWorld, or what if Clockwork Empires, or what if any of those games took place inside the Witcher universe, where there's nasty things lurking out in the woods that want to drag you away in the night while you're sleeping. And it does very, very well along those fronts. I've played the game for about 3 hours now. I think I'm about ready to give you my first impressions on this title, so those will be at the end of the video. They'll also probably come up naturally while we're playing the game. But today we're going to dive in, and I'm going to give you a little 30-minute video, probably highly edited. It'll probably be more like an hour, hour and a half of me playing the game, but there's a lot of dead periods in this game where you're not really doing a whole lot, or you're just prepping things. And so it'll be down to like 30 minutes, and hopefully it'll help you decide whether or not this early access is something that you want to support with your money. If after watching this you did indeed want to get the game for yourself, I got a link for you down below in the description. You can check that out. On top of that, you can also take a look down there. You can find a bunch of other Nerd Castle links that are all super fun to clicky click click. But let's go ahead and dive into the game because time is short and night is coming. Here we are. It's the opening day, the inaugural day of our new kingdom in the woods. The rough storyline of this game is that there's an evil king that was corrupted by dark magics or something, and he went on like a genocidal murder spree, and so we have flown into the woods because the woods are kind of like the only thing that that evil king is afraid of. He won't come out here in order to hunt us and murder us all. However, that being said, what exists inside the woods, very, very dangerous. Ancient dark forces and demigods and things like that that don't particularly like you being inside their territory. So today, in order to get started, the game is divided up into basically two phases. You've got the RimWorld section of the game, which all of these little guys are playing the RimWorld section of the game. They go around, they deliver resources to have buildings built, they gather up materials and resources, all that kind of fun stuff. And then you've also got the RTS gameplay on this side, where regularly once you have a barracks, you should be able to convert these guys into warriors, and they just play like an RTS game. They never work, they never sleep, they never eat. They are just static soldiers that are here for you to move around and fight with enemies that live out inside of the dark. This is our shrine. If our shrine dies, we lose the game. And this game is particularly nasty and difficult. At least I personally have found it to be on the normal difficulty setting. I got absolutely dookied on my first couple runs, and then like my third and fourth runs went quite a bit better. But we need to protect this altar right here because it is the means by which we, as the player, manifest our god powers into the world. That's right, this game also has a little bit of a black and white thing going on, where I can cast spells onto the battlefield, I can bless people, I can help them out with their daily tasks. Well, maybe not so much that part, but anyways, you've got god powers. I can summon death rays from the sky, I can summon magical shields to protect my archers from return projectiles, that kind of stuff. For now, we've got a quest that's waiting for us here at the altar, and it's the same every single time we play the game. We need to find copper ore, and we need to find coal. And if we do that, we will get Settlement Spirit. Settlement Spirit is a resource that you get just for your colonists being alive and being happy. It's basically their prayers to you, the player. As this meter fills up, you can spend it for magic spells, you can spend it to get research, you can do all kinds of things with it, and that's going to be important as we go on through the game. For right now, though, I need to find this coal and I need to find this copper so that we can get our free spirit, because getting things rolling, we've got our guys all out doing like random tasks anyways. There's a copper right there, so we found copper. Where do we have coal at down here? There's got to be coal in the vicinity. And there's our coal. So our job is done. The game is very lightweight, so if you've ever played a colony survival game before with randomized events that play while you're fiddling around with the game, you will find that usually there's like a pop-up right here with some art and some text describing what happens when you complete a goal or when you complete some kind of task that you've been undertaking, those kinds of things. This game doesn't really have that, so you're gonna have to pay attention when you complete quests and whatnot, because it's not gonna like play a chime or play a bell or anything else that lets you know you done good, kid. You just gotta kind of be aware of it. Another mechanic you need to be aware of, the forest in this game is alive. As we collect things, you may have noticed in the top right-hand corner, if you're astute, that this little number is going up every single time we gather something from the forest. This is the forest's vengeance. The more things we take from the forest in order to make ourselves stronger and have thicker walls and have more technology, the more the forest kind of gets mad about us being here. And so once this gets up to breakpoints of multiples of 100, that's when it's going to start spawning lairs and sending, Vlodkalax and things like that at us, like werewolves and things, to try to murder us. Hopefully, we don't get up to those heights anytime soon, but for now, our first day, we just need to gather up the basics, and once we have those, we should be able to start building tomorrow. So I'll probably fast forward through the rest of the day, because everybody needs to chop trees, everybody needs to grab berries, all that kind of stuff, and we don't really have any raw materials right now with which to work, and so most of the good stuff is going to happen in the morning. Morning has arrived, and so now it's time for us to actually do some building tasks and get some things laid out for our survival in the future. The first really big thing that we're going to need is we're going to need a bunch of places for our people to sleep. And until we have that, we're going to have a bad time. So I'll probably just row up some houses over here. My typical start is like 8 or 9 houses. That usually keeps you covered for the first big chunk of the game, and then you can worry about the rest of it later once you have more civilians. But this is going to be the camp area where everyone lives at. On top of that, we could probably make do with a workbench. I'll try to slam that in right there just to keep everything compact and condensed. All of your workers in this game, they seem to do the right thing most of the time. So you'll find that one of the big travails that a lot of these colony survival games have to get across is just the AI in games like this has to be fairly sophisticated, and it needs to be protected against edge cases where certain things are supposed to happen while other things are happening. I haven't seen their AI bug out too much. I've seen it happen a few times where I have a worker that goes non-responsive, but for the most part, it all seems to work. Note how I said that kind of hesitantly. We've got all of our houses built, so that's good. Everybody gets to sleep indoors tonight, which should help out with their tiredness. That'll be really, really nice. We've got another quest over here, and they want me to hire a warrior. That should be easy peasy lemon squeezy because we're going to need to have 3 or 4 warriors by the time we get to our second blood moon. That's when, regardless of how unhappy with the forest is with you, on blood moon, something absolutely terrible always happens in combination with a big enemy attack. And so we've got ground to cover before we're going to be properly prepared for all of these things that can go wrong. My first build is going to be a barracks. We'll just slap that in right there. And I should have most of the things I need for a barracks except for stone. So I'll send them over there to mine and go grab that. Once they've got the stones, they should be able to pile those on in there, and we should be able to get going with our first couple warrior recruits. They do have incremental building in this game. I like that very much. You can see them adding piece by piece all the different logs and all the little batches of thatching and whatnot. That's a really big deal to me with games like this. I prefer it very, very heavily. I don't like it when you stamp something down and it just like automatically appears. It breaks my immersion, and I'm one of those players that really appreciates immersiveness. And so the atmosphere and also just the general graphical accompaniment for this game all seem to be more or less Johnny on the spot as far as I'm concerned. We've got decent food supplies for right now. We've got a lot of mushrooms and we've got a lot of berries. We should have most of the things that we require in order to get things done. Another bar that you'll want to be aware of is this one down here. It allows you to set up the priorities for all the various jobs inside of your colony. The only downside to this is that it is buggy. So once again, we're talking about bugs. A number of times I've gone to adjust my priorities, and these little tiles right here, you can actually click and move them around like so. But occasionally one of them will get like stuck somewhere and just like never go back to where it goes, and then as far as I can tell, they just don't do that task. So that's gonna be like a week 1 fix that needs to be rolled out, because that is potentially and more than likely game breaking as far as the game is concerned. Let's slow time down. We've got a ghost inside of our base right now. Ghosts, they're kind of a special enemy. They only show up at night, but you can't hurt them with corporeal weapons. This game has a full bestiary, and inside that bestiary, every time you kill an enemy mob, you get research that tells you more and more about them and how you can fight them off. You need a magical weapon to kill ghosts, and as of right now, at this phase of the game, the only way for me to get a magical weapon is to use my infantryman's special ability to pray, which makes his weapon magical temporarily, and then you can kill ghosts. Had we not dealt with that ghost, the ghost can't kill anybody, but it will drain their energy down to 0 so that they sleep through the entire day, and it messes with their moods and whatnot. On top of that, unattended ghosts will go after your altar, and they will drain your magical power. And since you use that for research, it's bad when they drain your magical power. We do have a barracks over here, so, oh, it's at 82%, never mind. Now that our ghostly invasion has been seen to, the ghost should go away once the sun comes up, I think. I don't think he's going to go after anybody because we're at the morning right now. Oh, no, he is going after somebody. All right, pray. He's going to suck this guy's energy right here, unfortunately. I would recommend that you remove the casting time on prayer. Ghosts move into your base very, very quickly, and a 10-second casting time on it is pretty difficult to counter. Did I just use my prayer? Can I cancel that? Cancel the prayer. Don't use your cooldown because I think he despawned once the daytime got here. The other building that we're going to need if we want to be successful going into the future is we're going to need the Sage's Workshop. Every time you build what the game considers to be keystone buildings like the Sage's Workshop, your development level, this little ring will fill up around your settlement level, and when your settlement level's up, you get access to new technologies. This is going to require stone blocks, so what I need to do is I need to go into my workbench, and I need to queue up stone blocks. I do hope that they automate this. I'm going to set it to keep 5 stone blocks in our possession at all times. I'm also going to set it up to have 5 metal rods at all times, and I'm going to set it up to have 10 firewood at all times, so that we've got that prepped. But one change I would really like to see with regards to quality of life is that when you build a building that requires a refined material that comes out of one of your benches, it should just automatically add that amount of objects to the workbench if you don't have reserves set up. Like, that would just make it a lot easier. This game does have a lot of crafting chains that get very complex, and keeping track of what you do and don't have gets complicated when you're on big sprints of building, and so hopefully they'll add that before too long. Let's continue logging and cutting down trees. I don't want to go too nuts with destroying the woods, but we do need to keep a clear-cut area so that we can fight with enemies more effectively. Hopefully they start getting things done here. I'm going to let them run for the rest of the day, and hopefully, actually, where is construction at in our overall queue? So construction is pretty high up there. Oh, I thought we needed raw stone for the barracks. Apparently we need cut stone. All right, we're also probably going to have to put people on rest mode pretty soon. That sucks a little bit because they're not going to... Yeah, there it goes right there. So this game has an internal mechanic that I'm not sure that I'm super in love with. Basically, the more work days you have in a row, your people get depressed, and you've got to click this button right here to put them on rest mode. Unfortunately, this seems to happen at really, really bad times, and for each one of those things that they get a debuff, a kind of a cascading debuff that gets worse and worse and worse as time goes along. And so anyways, watch out for it. It can happen to you, and that button is how you fix it. It took me a while to realize that that button is kind of non-negotiable, and you kind of have to interact with it, otherwise you're going to have a bad time. Now that they're getting done with today, I'll probably have them rest tomorrow. I really need the Sage Hut to be up, so I need that copper vein that was over here. Where's that copper vein at? Get that copper vein for me. There we go, so that we have the copper for the Sage Hut. And then once the Sage's Hut is done, that's probably when I'll cut people loose and I'll let them rest for a day. It usually takes around 12 hours of resting and just cruising around town, eating snackies and chatting with friends about whatever you did last weekend in order to get them back in shape to work, but we'll deal with that once we get there. We do have another ghost inside of our village that's trying to steal all of our spirit goodies, so I'm going to smack these guys up real quick. There we go, get that ghost out of there, and hopefully there's no more of them tonight. We're still on slow mode right now. You can't accelerate the game speed if there's enemies around, but I think it might have just been delayed. There's our copper, so it should come down here to fix that. You come over here and attack that ghost with your magic weapon and defeat him real quick. All of these characters do level up and they do get stronger. I don't know if it was bugged when I was testing the game out over the weekend, but over the weekend they only seem to get like 1 XP per kill, and now this character seems to actually have quite a bit more XP. So maybe they sped up the leveling, which was another one of my complaints. I'll have to pay attention to it for the rest of the time we're playing. Oh, we've got a Revenant over here attacking in the dead of night too. Our character might struggle with the Revenant. Yeah, killed the Revenant, but just barely. That was a really bad time for the Revenant. So I think that's a sign that we need to expand our military power and make ourselves a little bit stronger. Utilizing the barracks, what I can do is I can retrain this militiaman to be a swordsman, actually, which is quite a bit stronger. Oh, that's the problem. Okay, so this character is actually really bad at fighting. So we started out with a character that has really bad perks for fighting. The bad part about that is you can't turn them back into a civilian and like swap them out with somebody else, even if you wanted to. Once you turn them into a soldier, they are stuck as a soldier forever. But if you retrain them, they lose their XP, but certain classes are just better than others. There's a whole bunch of classes down here that you can play around with. They all have like various functions and things that they do for you. We do want to find somebody here that will be good at fighting. And Lana actually has the Knight perk, which makes her hit really hard, and it makes her have double HP. So she's a no-brainer. We want her to be our next swordsman. And so we'll get a second swordsman right there. And when we upgrade our altar to level 2, we should start getting immigration to our village that'll help us out with all this. We are now getting the telltale wispies that are letting us know we're about to be attacked in the dead of the night. So that's a little bit of a bummer. I only have 2 soldiers for right now. The purple thing that flew off the Revenant, that's a dark shard. Dark shards are used for research, or you can convert them into spirit if you want. We're wasting a lot of spirit right now. Hopefully they build this thing soon. There we go. All right, knock that out. Everybody go on rest mode for the rest of the day and get rid of this debuff for us. It looks like we're generating 50% more spirit, which is the nice part about rest mode. But we need to buy a technology point for 200 of our spirit. And then with our technology point, I would like to buy access to... Let's get hunters first. We will get a hunters. Well, maybe we'll go with a farm first. Winter is coming, and having the farm tree taken care of might help us out there. For the rest of the day, we're just going to be chillaxing. I will take this altar right here and upgrade it to level 2. That way we're generating more spirit and people believe in us more. But for now, we're just waiting for the waves to come tonight. Actually, we have a military point we can get too. We only needed 1 shard for the first military level up, so I'll take that real quick. And I will spend it to increase the size of my army by 2, because we're unit capped at 2 units right now. I would like to have 3 or 4 pretty shortly. It's going to slow down our workflow, but it should work out all right as long as we keep everybody happy and full of, you know, good feelings and vibes. They're all kind of depressed right now. Inside the barracks, now that we have 2 more spaces for people, we have high stamina right there. She hits really hard and she's got decent HP. This focused character is quite good as well, so we'll train him to be a warrior. He gets extra crit, he gets extra defense, and he's got a little bit of extra attack too. And so now we've got all 3 of our warriors here, ready for our first night of enemies streaming on into my territory and trying to murder me. It looks like we also have something over here. Oh, there he is. He wants to join our colony, so he replaces one of the guys that we just turned into a warrior. So yeah, invite him on in. Is he any good? Premislav, it looks like, has very, very terrible health, so that's a little bit of a bummer. However, it looks like he gets bonuses to defense, so he might make a really good shield wall character at some point, or like a really good tank. We don't want to get into too many fights today, but I do want to send these guys out to get a little bit of XP. We've got like these little Pokemon Oddish looking things that are all over the woods around our house. And so I'm cool. They regenerate reasonably quickly, and we need to start farming shards to get ourselves a little bit more energy so that we can do more research. And so I'm okay with just sort of sending them out to scout territory and figure out what exists along the edges of our borders. We have a shrine over here. While wandering through the forest, you discover a strange pillar that's vibrating with energy. According to legend, the spirits that dwell in these places just bestow their power upon some warriors and cripple others. We'll touch it. It looks like it gives them an attack boost, but we don't have any of the offerings yet. I think that will make this feasible. We can give it copper ore, meat, or a cog wheel. It's a peculiar idol in the form of a winged dog. Samargal is a swift messenger who travels between heaven and earth, bestows dexterity and speed. Well, because it's a dog, meat would make sense here. A cog wheel makes things go faster, though, so it's kind of hard to say. Maybe I'll fiddle with that a little bit later. Okay, so we are under attack. The good news is the second that we were under attack, everybody got the good mood buff for their rest being done, so tomorrow they'll be able to work. That'll be absolutely phenomenal. Now, pay attention during these waves. Other things are going to happen that's going to kind of like screw us up while we're running around. Do I have enough spirit for another technology point? I do not. Okay, we're going to need a little bit more spirit, but it'll be all right. Our storage went up to 600, and so we really don't want to waste any of that if we can help it. And I see red dots moving towards the base. Looks like we've got revenants, and it looks like we've got timber fiends that we've got to deal with. All right, boys, everybody get into combat. It's time for us to earn some dark shards. Hopefully we get enough tonight that we can buy another military technology point. That way I can either get training dummies. That'll allow these guys. Oh, no, they've got 1 XP, so maybe our characters started out with 20. Leveling up your characters and getting them veteran status is very, very slow. I've yet to do it. I assume that it makes them much, much better than they used to be, but get on down here. I found that the combat in this game is pretty well animated. It feels pretty smooth. It feels pretty nice to look at. The enemies do have sort of like complex strategies and things that you need to follow as well. I'm going to set everybody up to pray so that they get regeneration. Some of the enemies will also have raid boss mechanics where they have like little dead zones that you're not allowed to walk into. They're throwing projectiles around, that kind of stuff. But we shouldn't have to worry about that on our first blood moon. Last wave looks to be a couple more revenants and whatnot, so we'll get some damage out here. The enemy does tend to focus on whichever guy in your army is wounded the most, so be aware of that. You will have to micro a little bit and like kite around in order to make some of the fights work without losing men. It's just, it is what it is. Once everybody wakes up in the morning, I think that was the end of our last wave, so we should be ready to get some things done here today. Log supplies looking okay. It looks like we've got a decent amount of most of the stuff that we need in order to be successful. However, I would like people to get going on coal if they can. Where was that coal at? Yeah, go get that coal. And once you've finished off the coal, I actually need to track down another copper deposit too. There's a bunch of copper ore over here, but it's pretty far away from the village, so I'm going to send all of my warriors down here to just sort of check the area out and make sure there's nothing in the region that's going to be attacking my little guys. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about right there. That would be the perfect example. You guys kill him, kill them off, and then from there just finish off the fight. Dark shards or dark shards. We don't have a magical weapon right now to get rid of that ghost, so I think we're going to have to run and kite him out a little bit. So let's see if we can leash him real quick. Most of the enemies in this game do seem to leash. Actually, no, I could fix this. Let's just hit him with a scorching beam. There we go, he's dead. I'll use some of my magical energy just to wipe him out real quick. Oh, there's an enemy lair down here. That's where the chaos came from. There's only one monster in the lair, so let's get down here and kill it real quick. It will lower. You come around to this side. I don't want you to be the point of contact for that little enemy right there. Good stuff. Now finish off the lair. Lair's down. That should reduce our forest rage by 100, I think. Well, I thought. Either way, though, it gave us a ton of dark shards, which is fantastic for our own safety. Hopefully no more ghosts show up tonight, because this has been a busy evening for all of us. But we're going to need to figure out where the enemy lair is that's linked to the Forest Vengeance. I was expecting it to go down, because last time I killed one of those, it went down by 100, and so I thought you could just kill a lair to get your level down whenever you need to, but it doesn't look like it. Are you guys ready to pray? Get your HP back. Pray your little asses off. We do have enemies coming from the south, and it looks like the lair that it spawned, because our forest rage got up too high, is more than likely going to be a timber fiend lair. So we're going to need to wait for everybody to heal, then we're going to need to push down that way and wipe it out before the end of tonight. Everybody should be on work mode right now. They are indeed on work mode, so that's good. We haven't started producing any of our metal rods yet, but I think I queued that up last night, so we should be... I might not have been paying attention. We should be good there. As far as buildings go, new things that we can put down to make our lives a little bit easier. The fair makes your people rest more effectively. They go to the fair whenever they need to refill their tiredness or happiness or whatever in between sleeping. So I will deploy one of those right there because when we have to go into rest mode, it should just make things simpler. Oh, we got a ghost invasion. Fantastic, and all my prayers are off cooldown. Just the worst timing ever. Alright, we'll laser that one. And we can't do anything. The ghosts are just going to ravish us today. There's literally nothing I can do. I guess I can laser beam them all. But that's going to be a huge waste of our energy. But yeah, today we got an event that's called a Nightmare Day. The game, once again, does not tell you when this is happening. So it can be very, very difficult to adapt to. You can see that the ghost knocked out half my colony. So our chances of getting any type of work done today are probably pretty slim. In the meantime, since we're not going to get anything done today, I will buy 2 defensive points. That'll allow me to research some more technologies. Inside my technologies, I would like to get +1 to my army size, and I'd like to get access to the Enchanter. That would be good, because that's going to be a new combat class that's going to help us out when things get a little bit mangy. Chances are that I'm not going to be able to deal with this Timber Fiend lair until the Ghost Day is over, so that was our bad event that happened after the Blood Moon. Sometimes what'll happen is a giant Wraith will come in, convert one of your guys to a ghost, and then drag them down a well way out in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes something will kidnap one of your guys and try to turn him into a werewolf. It just sort of depends. This time around, we got Ghost Invasion. The downside to Ghost Invasion is that it's not really giving my guys a whole lot of time to regenerate in between fights. They're like constantly filtering in between crises that need their attention. Are they already sending another wave? I'd hate to use prayer to make these guys regenerate, but I may have to. Okay, let's push out, and hopefully ghosts don't come. We're getting attacked really frequently, so let's just grab this one by the throat, and let's kill off the Timber Fiend lair that's down here quickly. As long as there aren't ghosts in the village, I should be able to do this pretty fast. Another way you can deal with ghosts in this game is that you can put down bonfires. Bonfires, they make it so that... What is that thing? What is that, a ghost? Okay, that's fine. I don't care about a ghost. Maybe fall back and leash a little bit. Then again... Maybe I can laser some of them. There we go. That seems like it helped out a little bit. You get out of there. You're taking way too much damage. Okay, run away, boys. Everybody run away. We are much too low on health for this, but we need to wipe that enemy base out. Otherwise, nothing good is going to come after that. Let's drag them back to town real fast. Regeneration is happening, but I needed them to aggro one of my villagers. Hopefully he doesn't die. There we go. We saved him. And now they should regenerate a little bit. So let's see how many of them we actually got down here. I've got another villager that wants to join up, but this thing respawns decently quickly, and so I'm a little bit worried about my safety here. I may have to invoke some magic just to make this whole thing work. There we go. Magic's invoked. Got another one right there. Let's wipe him out. Because I've got like 2 minutes till this thing farts out a huge invasion on me, and I don't want to deal with it, so if we can kill off little shroomy boys before that goes hectic on us, that would be great. All right, cool. The good news here is we just got a bunch more a bunch more dark shards. This event right here. What was that? The gods are angry. We must not piss off the forest. Okay, so this is also really bad timing. So usually this doesn't come up till later. We can't let any of our forest vengeance go up above 100 for 3 days. That will be a challenge with where we're sitting at right now, because we're sitting on 84, which means realistically if we gather like anything in the next couple days, we'll fail this quest. However, if I turn the quest down, everybody gets frustrated. So I'm going to take it, and we'll just try to micromanage our settlement well enough. We will get this new villager as well. That way I can bring in an enchanter or something to help out. And for right now, we need to disengage every single gathering task. So if there's any gathering tasks up right now, they all need to be canceled. No gathering for the next few days. It's going to slow down our progress a little bit, but we're just going to have to make it work. I do think a carpenter's workshop is a really good idea because we're not really doing any woodworking right now. And I'd like to get that shored up because we're going to need refined goods pretty soon. So even though we can't really gather anything, I think it's good to get it set up over there for now. So there we are. We've got ourselves a level 2 carpenter's workshop. One nice piece of quality of life that the game does have is that you don't need to upgrade every single building iteratively, like this one right here. I could upgrade it to level 2 right now if I wanted to do so. But if I built a fresh one, I could just tell it to build a level 2 when I build it. It just adjusts the materials required, which is really nice, actually. I kind of like that. So if something gets destroyed, I don't have to do a level 1, then upgrade it to a level 2. You know, it just kind of smooths out the experience. Inside of our carpentry workshop, I think we're going to want to keep probably 10 boards in stock at all times. And then from there, A sled would be nice. Wheelbarrows would be nice as well. We're going to need firewood in winter. A revenant ate one of my huts, in case you're wondering what happened to that hut over there. It was eaten by a revenant, unfortunately. The game does have a very good soundtrack. The game does have very good sound effects and artwork. I feel like they really, really delivered on this title when it comes to actually just the world building and the atmosphere and everything else. The real tricky proportion right now is just that the game has bugs. And we've got another villager coming in too, because everybody's happy. Nice. Well, I will absolutely take another drifter. You're 50 years old, but hey, hopefully you can still lift heavy stuff and like break rocks with your head or something to make my life easier. We do have a technology point to spend inside of our magic tree. So I would say let's continue on with what we've been doing right now with our farm. And let's just get a batch of pumpkin seeds, I guess. That way we've got those inside of our inventory to start up our farm, because I think a farm is going to be a useful thing to have. We don't have the 4 boards yet, I don't think. But let's just do the level 2 over here, and we'll get some farm plots going. So that at least we're moving forward while we wait for this event to go away. Now that our farm's down, we've also got a number of other particular problems. One of them is that our food supply is running out, so I need to fix that sooner rather than later. Let's move out here and see what we can uncover. Just see if there's anything close to the base that we can sort of eat off of. We're probably about to get depressed too, because they've been working for a while, and so I got a bad feeling that we're walking into something ugly at the moment. We have berries up here. I would say tell them to go get the berries, and hopefully that doesn't take us over 100 on our monster meter. That might be our best bet. Like, I can't put them on rest mode until we have enough food to make it through an entire day while resting. This guy over here, we're going to need to put down farm plots too, so I don't think that they're going to worry about construction later, maybe. Let's go obtaining resources and put that up a tier so that they just go gather resources first, because we need food more than anything else right now. So they're up and at 'em going after the berries. Hopefully they get enough berries to buy us enough time to make it through. Yeah, there goes the depression right there. That's what I was hoping would not happen, but it did. So, plan for the worst. We now have 75 berries. That should be enough for me to put everybody on rest mode now and get rid of their depression. I'm not quite sure the rest mode mechanic really functionally works. To me, this sort of feels like something that should be automated, almost like recreation from RimWorld. Like they should just do it when they need it, rather than, maybe there is a menu around here or something that I missed out on. Yeah, it does look like you have to toggle it, in all honesty. It does kind of look like you've got to go through and do it all on your own. It's very, very interesting. Like in RimWorld, recreation is one of the jobs, and you can sort of slot it in for when you want them to do it. Or not recreation, I guess it's like rest or whatever. And you can set up chunks of the day where they'll just automatically go do it to stop situations like this from happening. But this game seems to be really married to sort of the automatic idea. And I'm kind of like, I don't know if it really works inside the context of the game. And we've got Lotta's Lava. She wants to join. And so she is welcome to do so. Hopefully the fairgrounds help them regenerate their forced labor debuff faster. There's no like meter or anything that I've found that lets you know when they're going to start getting the cascading debuff and like when it's going to be important to handle that. And if we can just avoid like a huge swath of ghosts or anything tonight, just to give us a chance to recover, that would be ideal. We did indeed get a fairly sizable ghost invasion, so I'm going to need all of my guys to pray. And it's possible that tomorrow oh my god, they're sucking all my juice, bro. Get out of here. All of you get gone. Get out of here. Go. Get. There we go. Smack those guys up. Get this ghost over here that's messing with this guy's sleep. All right, we should be. I was playing the Witcher music, I was doing that ying 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 ying. I don't know what instrument that is, but like my experience is that everything from Eastern Europe that implies that you're under attack or that there's danger around, the music always starts with that, whatever that harp is or violin is that goes ying 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 ying. And then you got like the higher pitched one up over the top, like and you need like a few ladies inside of there to really dial up the Witcher, being like, la, 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 la. You know how it goes, man. Soundtracking those games must be like, it's not that hard. There's certain tropes you can just kind of like lean on, you know what I mean? I'm like, all right, so do we have the ladies? And are the ladies doing like the la, 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 la? Are they doing that thing? Are the violinists violining? All right, I think we're in good shape. Print it, cut it to gold, and ship it. We have another blood moon on our hands, but we're also, like, low on certain resources. So, like, chop down trees for now. Just keep clear cutting so that we have space to build. It's going to piss off the forest. Well, maybe I should wait till tomorrow. Ugh. So much sitting around and waiting, man. On the plus side, we are now the proud new owners of a farm. It's slightly beat up, but, like, we can heal it, I guess. Is this beat up? Does anything else have damage on it? You can repair buildings with, like, one click of a button. It's super easy to do. With this guy, we need to sow a field. I'm going to go with pumpkins, and we're just going to put in pumpkins, like, I don't know. I can only do, like, 20 of them. Just, like, put them in over there or something. There we go. I only have 20 pumpkin seeds, so, like, that's going to have to do for now until we can make a bigger field. But it's a supplementary food supply that does not cause the forest to get more angry at us, I think. So we should be all right on that front. With with a new blood wave coming on in, I think it's also time that we get, like, another fighter. We did get access to an enchanter. It does take up 2 of our unit cap. But if we can find an enchanter that's got, like, really good attack, because enchanter, they shoot, like, magic fireballs at the enemy. And so having an enchanter that's got, like, good damage, because they're not typically in frontline combat anyways. Yeah, Vecheslav. Go be a... Wait, hold on. What did I train you as? Did I train you as an enchanter? Just making sure I clicked it right. All right, cool. Go be an enchanter. You're now an enchanter. We're getting lots of immigration because our people are happy. The enchanter, he's kind of like, I don't know, almost like a shaman or something. In like an MMO, he's a buff bot. He has auras, and his auras make your guys stronger. That's pretty much it. Just make them better at fighting. He also hangs out in the back, like he can shoot a magic fireball like that far out, and so he shouldn't be in combat like ever as we're going forward. We also have a rescuable person over here. We could try to get that before the day ends. What are they under attack from? It looks like possibly timber fiends. It's about to be nighttime, though, so if we're going to rescue this person, we need to rescue him now rather than later. There we go. Rescue him up. Oh, no, we got frustration. Apparently killing timber fiends pisses off the forest. Damn it. That's super bad. And he wants 10 food to live? Oh, sorry, man. You're going to die. I'm low on food right now. I can't save you right now. You hang in there, brother. You hang in there. Maybe if we gather more berries sometime in the future, everything will work out. But for now, it's a really, really bad time. You know, we're not really looking to upscale our staffing at the moment. I feel like we're sort of operating at the upper end of budget. So, like, sorry, Broham. You might just die out there. We also have an avenging lair, and it's attacking from the east. Oh, that's super bad. That is really inconvenient. Okay, we'll wipe everything out over here. It's not a blood moon yet, but we're going to have to deal with that hive pretty soon, too. And then before too long, I think we're going to have to go all in on building walls around our town. You do get walls and defenses and towers and stuff like that as you get further on into the game that sort of help out with this defensive process so that you don't have units running around all over the place just willy-nilly. But for now, we do not have access to those things. So they're coming in from the east again. All right. I don't want to split up my battle force on this, but we may have to. My Sage Lodge, and they're trying to beat up my fair, dude. I don't know what they have against our fun, recreation, and general ass grabbery, but apparently they have a big problem with it. The problem is that having this on the same night as the blood moon means that my forces are going to be constantly split between the east and the west side of the base, and so that's not going to be ideal. I can sort of defend one side of the base using magical spells, and I do think that we have research that we can do right now. I do have lots of spirit points, so I'll buy a bunch of military technology, and I'll buy a bunch of magic technology too. Let's give us some beet seeds over here. That sounds all right. I'll take some freebie beet seeds, and then over on this side, I'll probably go with defensive towers. A defensive tower would probably solve this up pretty nicely as it stands right now, but, like, what are you going to do? I don't know if this is permanent. You can get different buffs from things like the shrines over here. Likewise, you can also get, like, debuffs. I don't know exactly how long these last for because it doesn't give you a duration, and it also doesn't say permanent or anything on it. So general tool tipping could probably use some work here as well so that the player is maximum educated about the decisions that they're making going through, especially since decision making tends to be a very important part of a colony survival game. The Blood Moon attacks are coming in from this side over here. It should be 3 waves. We've got... Oh no, dude, we got like a devil over here coming on in. So this guy, this is a big ghost. It's called a night hag. What it's going to do is it's going to convert one of our settlers into a ghost and then drag him down a well that's somewhere in the forest. And then we got to mount a rescue operation to go rescue him. We can kill that guy before he steals our people, but that's going to be the bad event that we got for this Blood Moon. And all things considered, it's not actually that bad of an event. We have lots of enemies piling up over here. I would suggest maybe lasering them down, but they are all probably going to destroy something over here. I don't think there's too many ways around it. We've got lots of problems right now. Amongst the realm of problems that need to be solved, there are a great many things that are not going so great. We've also got an attack over here. That did not help altogether that much. Villagers are being consumed by monsters. One thing at a time. You guys pray so that your regeneration is up and active. You stay the hell away. They're all regenerating, so hopefully they survive this. You get out of there. We'll keep a general weather eye on the amount of damage everybody's taking. But this was a pretty hectic night for us. This was not good. The music just ended, so I think we're mostly solid except for the eastbound attacks. We're going to have to wait for these guys to get their HP back up. So, like, maybe you come over here and just start hitting them with ranged attacks, possibly. Might be a good place to start. I don't know how many enemies are going to be inside the lair, but we can go look. It is 3 in the morning, though, so there's a chance ghosts are going to come and drain everybody's energy. We've kind of got a lot of issues right now that are sort of compounding. You go over there and just start shooting. And then I have them all grouped up. So we'll fire death lasers at them just to get their HP down a little bit. I think our HP is okay to hold right here. Maybe a little bit. And let's see if we can find this lair over here. It's somewhere over here. There it is. How many's left inside of it? 2. We can take that, kill it. Does anybody have magic sword right now? Nobody has magic sword right now. I gotta wait for magic sword cooldown to come up. Oh, we've got more events. Beautiful. This one, destroy the old well and rescue your villager. I can do that, and I was planning on doing that anyways. And then strengthening the settlement. Raise your settlement level in the next 3 days. I don't know if I can get that done just yet. But that work speed enthusiasm would probably cancel out the thing that we have right there, so that would be nice. Drag him back to town. Can I death laser this guy or something? Where's he at? There we go. Just death laser him. Go back and get our dark shards. Those are big-ass piles of dark shards over there, and we need them for more research. Food is looking okay. Pumpkins have not been planted yet, but then again, it was a really, really bad night for us, so, like, what are you going to do? You go the hell away. This guy somehow miraculously has survived through the night, so I guess I'll throw the berries at him and we'll go recruit him. But this is Night is Coming, a very, very intense colony survival game. Like one of those colony survival games that does not pull punches with you. It's going to be difficult. My observations about the game right now are just that there are quite a few bugs that can come up that can mess with your playthroughs. I think the game is cool. I think the game is good. I think it's atmospheric. I definitely think that it's got big potential in the respect that it kind of feels like a darker, more grim version of a lot of the other stuff that exists out there. And it's got very, very good theming and atmosphere. They've got the art team, you know, chugging at full speed. And so the game is, if you take it down to its core components, a perfectly acceptable addition to the realm of colony survival games. However, I did run into some bugs, and some of those bugs actually really torpedoed the way that I had any sort of control over my colony's workflow by the UI actually just kind of becoming damaged and no longer responsive while I was playing through. And so I think there's definitely some polish work left to be done here when it comes to just general bugs and things like that. I do think there's a lot of opportunities here to ramp up the quality of life. All the developers would really need to do is, if anybody on the development team is experienced with RimWorld, go through and look at all the nice stuff that RimWorld does. It's the best colony survival game ever made. It's up there with Dwarf Fortress, except that it's got even more quality of life than Dwarf Fortress. At least I assume so. I haven't played Dwarf Fortress in a couple of years. I haven't played it since the Steam branch came out, so maybe the Steam branch has a lot more quality of life. But anyways, there's a lot of big opportunities for quality of life here. I would recommend that you look at RimWorld and RimWorld mods that make the game run smoother and just incorporate those ideas into your game. If it's working for another game, incorporate it into yours. And so for right now, I like the game quite a bit. However, watch out for bugs, and there's a lot of room for improvement with quality of life, making the game flow a little bit better, letting players know when events are active with like a pop-up and some art and like a lore blurb underneath it that pauses the game so that you know what's coming, with like a timer until it deploys. Little things like that would all be helpful for this game in order to sort of smooth out the experience and make it feel a little bit more satisfying. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were messing around with a little game called Night is Coming. Tomorrow we'll be playing around with something else. Thanks for hanging out with me, and that's about all I got for you, folks. Bye.